So guys, here we are today for the penultimate round of my Freddie Gray career mode here on F1 2014. Obviously last time out in USA, obviously it was a double header though, Japan and USA. If you haven't watched that episode yet, especially the US Grand Prix, go and do so right now before I spoil the result, because it was an absolutely incredible race throughout. So I'm going to give you a chance, I'm going to spoil it in a second, so make sure you click off the video. So obviously last time out in the United States of America, it was absolutely crazy race, especially towards the end. On the final lap after a safety car period, the track was drying out ever so fast, and that meant that Freddie was able to take advantage of that and pit in for dry tyres along with 7th to 17th as it was at the time, and the top 6 decided to risk it for a biscuit and stayed out on the intermediate tyres, and that meant that Freddie was able to move up into 2nd place after an absolutely crazy final lap, overtaking around about 6 or 7 cars. But the most unfortunate thing is that Lewis Hamilton finished ahead in both Japan and USA, which meant he increased the championship lead to 16 points. So Freddie has his work cut out, and he's really got to do something special here in Brazil, because Lewis Hamilton could quite easily win the championship in this race, and Ferrari can also win the constructors as well. So that's 2 things to watch out for in the Brazilian Grand Prix, guys. So yes, without further ado, let's get into the qualifying report. It was a shocker of a day for the home favourites, as both Felipes lined up on the back row. Also struggling in the changeable conditions was Haas's Romain Grosjean. Gutierrez made his inaugural Q3 appearance. Rio Haryanto was the biggest surprise of qualifying, making it through into Q2 and also setting a faster time than veteran Fernando Alonso. Jolyon Palmer missed out on Q2 by a few thousandths, which meant Magnussen continued to dominate the qualifying battle. Force India had yet another average day with P9 and P13, while Red Bull still P4 and P5. Danny Kvyat rediscovered his form in the Toro Rosso by securing 8th. Ferrari got a car on the front row in the form of Sebastian Vettel, while Mercedes Lewis Hamilton was sat on pole position. The first stint would be crucial for Freddie's race and ultimately championship chances. Beating Lewis Hamilton was a must. It is time for the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Okay, so we're going to try an aggressive strategy in the first half of this race. You can do this.
So on the grid now in P6 for this Brazilian Grand Prix. Not the best of qualifying. Lewis Hamilton on pole. We need to get ahead of him as soon as possible. So the light's gone out about a couple of seconds ago now as we head into turn 1, going between both Red Bull cars and also Nico Rosberg in the Mercedes, getting off to a slow start, as does his teammate Lewis Hamilton. Our teammate Sebastian Vettel is now in the lead of this Brazilian Grand Prix, going through the centre as turns 2 and turns 3. We forced Lewis Hamilton out wide, squeezing him out a little bit, and he's forced onto the grass, but doesn't lose him much time. But Freddie is now up into 2nd place, so what a start it has been so far for the Ferrari team. Looking good so far for this Constructors' Championship. Obviously the gap needs to be over 43 points for that to be sealed, and currently the Drivers' Championship will be going to Abu Dhabi as it stands at the beginning of lap 2, but obviously there's still 34 laps to go of this race where anything can happen. Lewis Hamilton tries one up the inside of turn 1, but that does backfire, and Nico Rosberg actually retakes 3rd position from what he had originally on the grid. So Lewis Hamilton, not a great start for him whatsoever. Now onto lap 4, the gap behind was significantly increasing due to the fact the cars behind us were battling. Daniel Ricciardo now up into 3rd place, so he's overtaken both Mercedes cars of Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. So currently 3.3 seconds and 2.6 seconds ahead to Sebastian Vettel. But it didn't take long though for those guys to catch up. Rosberg eventually retook 3rd position. He caught right up to the back of Freddie's car. Now onto the pit straight, heading into turn number 1. You've got Nico Rosberg on our outside. He's going to hang one around the outside. Freddie going to defend the inside, hug the inside curve there, and he's just about to defend the position for now. But obviously the double DRS zone in Brazil on the pit straight, and also here up into turns number 5, I believe. So here we go now. Is Nico Rosberg going to make a move? We've also got Daniel Ricciardo there waiting in the wings. Who's going to go for it first? They both back off in the end. Sensible decision, but I think Rosberg, as a result of that, has actually lost a further 2 positions to Daniel Ricciardo, obviously, and also his teammate Lewis Hamilton. Now on to the beginning of lap 10. Freddie is due to pit in this lap for another set of tyres. Of the team mentioning earlier the aggressive strategy, so I assume he'll be changing onto the option tyres for this second stint. We still got Ricciardo all over us though. He's going to go to the outside, or Freddie might try and defend that outside. See what's going to happen here. Lewis Hamilton and also Max Verstappen as well, absolutely storming is the Dutchman there. Max Verstappen just coming out of absolutely nowhere. Obviously he has overtaken Nico Rosberg, and we still maintain in P2, but Freddie once again under all sorts of pressure, absorbing it very, very well. But again, you must say the tyre wear in this first stint has been quite worrying, and Freddie really has been struggling, especially towards the back end of this stint. Ricciardo and Rosberg and the likes of those guys really caught up quite quickly, and towards the end of lap 10, enough was enough. It is time to come in for another set of the option tyres. So that's a very interesting call, how Ferrari are going on this aggressive strategy. Perhaps they're seeing something that Freddie can't right now. Maybe there is some rain on the horizon in the next 10 or so laps. Going to have to wait and see in a second. I'm sure our engineer will let us know very, very soon. We've got Ricciardo, who's come out behind us in P10, who I do believe is on the prime tyres. So we're going to have to wait and see now, see what the other guys pit onto.
Lap 12, and there's a possibility of rain. The drops will start falling on the final part of the track.
So rain is on the horizon as predicted earlier on, so it seems as if it will be falling at the final part of the track. Now to lap 13, we have easily jumped the guys behind us, and still we are in P2 with Daniel Ricciardo still within DRS distance now, but I'm sure he will catch up quite significantly. But now Ricciardo for some reason has dropped back loads, because now Rosberg is right on our gearbox and is now lining up an attack into turn number 5. Can Rosberg pull it off? Will Freddie be able to defend it around the outside? Yes, he does. The German Nico Rosberg will have to wait for now, and yes, all the action seems to be occurring on this pit straight here and out the exit of the centre rest is into turn number 4 or 5. You can see now Rosberg once again in the DRS zone here. He's going to try and make a move, but I think he's going to back off, is he? Yes, he does actually, very strangely, and that allows his teammate Lewis Hamilton through. So obviously Freddie's championship rival at the moment. As it stands, the championship will not be sealed in this race unless Lewis Hamilton can try and overtake Freddie Gray, unless Freddie does drop back quite a bit more. So with about half the race to go now, it does seem as if the championship will be going to Abu Dhabi, but obviously a lot can still happen. Lewis Hamilton once again trying an overtake into turn number 4, but as usual the driver's thinking better of it into that particular corner. Now to lap 17, a 1 minute 14.8 has been set by Freddie Gray, still under pressure from the 2 Mercedes cars, and also some other cars are also going to be joining in the battle very soon. As you can see on the mini-map, it looks like Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo will be rejoining the battle in a second. As you can see now on this back straight, we've got Hamilton and Rosberg wanting to make a move here into turn number 4. Hamilton looks like he's got the position, but Freddie dives one back up the inside of the Mercedes driver, and he is still ahead. So Freddie's done very, very well so far, and Hamilton seems to be on the prime tyres. So it seems as if Freddie seems to be suffering with some sort of issue, or the tyres are just going off quite significantly, because the pace in this stint, once again, it's been quite poor, but it's allowed for some brilliant, brilliant battling once more into the centre rest, as Max Verstappen now has made his way ahead of both Mercedes cars. So Verstappen is absolutely flying, and he's probably been one of the drivers of the race so far, along with our teammate Sebastian Vettel, who's essentially a pit stop ahead of Freddie now. So a very dominant display from the German so far. Sebastian Vettel, our teammate. We've got Verstappen and Hamilton into turn number 4, actually going 3 abreast of Freddie there, but both of them do back off, and I think Hamilton takes advantage of that. I think he just about managed to make a move around the outside of Max Verstappen. So absolutely crazy battling so far, and once again here onto lap 20, Lewis Hamilton trying to make a move once more, and the 2 Red Bulls are on the back of us now, along with Nico Rosberg, and also believe a Williams of Valtteri Bottas, who's made his way up into 6th position. So an absolutely huge scrap here for 2nd place in this Brazilian Grand Prix. Obviously the win has more or less been decided, but Lewis Hamilton once more having a sniff down the inside, but as per usual backing off, and I think because of that he has lost another position to the Red Bull racing car of Daniel Ricciardo. So Ricciardo now back up into 3rd. So what a crazy race it has been so far. And just to add more spice to this, we've got rain now on lap 20, very light raindrops at this back end of the track. Now Ricciardo is going to try one up the inside. Can Ricciardo get ahead of us before turn 1? And he backs off once more, but I think he's actually still there on the inside, but it's going to be a question of whether he can try and make it work with the DRS on this straight here, heading from turns 3 into turn 4 now. Once again, the DRS will be open for the guys behind. We've got Ricciardo, who is ever closing with the slipstream, and obviously the DRS effect here. Let's have a look now into the braking zone. Behind it looks like a car has lost their front wing.
Okay, Hamilton has lost his front wing. Make sure to maintain your focus.
And it is Lewis Hamilton, our championship rival. So that is absolutely crucial for this race. But that could advantage him though, because he may have pitted on to the intermediate tyres, or he may do. Obviously yet, it's still the same lap on lap 21, because we're under pressure now from Daniel Ricciardo and Nico Rosberg, who actually seem to be going into the pits. No, they're not. Actually going 3 abreast here on the pit straight. Very, very surprising. No, I don't think Freddie actually expects that. I think it looked from his point of view that Rosberg was going into the pit lane, but once again, both cars unable able to make a move. Freddie really does seem to be one of the trickiest drivers to pass on the whole grid in this season. But look, the rain is really getting heavy now, and I think Freddie will be pitting in this lap, not with Daniel Ricciardo by the looks of it, but actually with Nico Rosberg. So I'm not sure what Ricciardo is trying there. The rain's obviously going to get worse looking at the skies right now. Very, very dark indeed, and the rain will only be getting heavier. But I think Rosberg also has some front wing damage as well, so there's even more reason for the German to be pitting in. Also seems that Williams are also out in the pit lane as well, along with Toro Rosso and a couple of other teams as well. So lots of cars now going on to the intermediate tyres. A couple have stayed out though, including the guys ahead of us, like Jenson Button, for example. Jenson Button having a fairly decent qualifying session and a good season, so perhaps we could see him in the points, but he may lose time here on this lap whilst the track really gets into the crossover point from dries to intermediate tyres. As you can see, Freddie just weaving about there, seeing if there's actually any grip at all. But now heading into turn 4 and out of the exit, no real wheel spin, so it does seem to be just the right time to pit in. So now, end of lap 23, you can see here through the race director standings, we have got Sebastian Vettel, who's made his second stop, but is on the prime tyres, and so is Nico Rosberg actually, who pitted in beforehand. So that's very, very strange to see, and it's actually Massa and Sainz Jr. who are second and third on the intermediate tyres essentially, and Lewis Hamilton has pitted in 3 times, so he must have pitted in beforehand for dry tyres when he lost his front wing, but now he's pitted in for intermediate. So Lewis Hamilton all the way down in 15th, along with Nico Rosberg, who's finally pitted in. So actually, as it stands, Ferrari could be seen in the Constructors' Championship today. Forget about the drivers for now, because it does look as if that's going to Abu Dhabi unless something crazy happens towards the end of this Brazilian Grand Prix, like it has been so far, so I wouldn't bet against it just yet. But look how close it is here at pit exit with Freddie and Sebastian Vettel. That's how much time Vettel lost on the dry tyres, because he stayed out an extra 2 laps, because he made a mistake and obviously pitted in. I don't know what Ferrari were thinking there.
Right, it's your call here, mate. The rain is showing no sign of stopping.
So our engineer is leaving the call to Freddie here. So essentially what's happening is that the track is getting ever wetter. The rain is getting heavier. So it's now at the point where we could perhaps change to the wet tyres. And Freddie is choosing to do that. It is his call here. The team left it down to him. And it's going to be another gamble to be taken right now. Obviously accidentally selecting the intermediate tyres, but now selecting the wet tyres. Will this gamble pay off, or will it lose us any more time? Or will it be able to gain us time on Sebastian Vettel? We're going to have to wait and see now. On to lap 27. We're getting a few cars that are passing us here on the pit straight. I think we're going to drop into P9 behind Esteban Gutierrez. So will this gamble pay off or not? Again, a lot of risks Freddie has taken throughout his career, especially during this season. So will this be another one that will pay off, or will it be another failure, which we have seen obviously last time out in USA? Some of the calls that the team and Freddie did make the change onto the intermediate and wet tyres were perhaps a little bit of a gamble, and it does seem here, obviously we can't guarantee for sure yet, but now skipping later on onto lap 28, and we do seem to have actually lost a bit of time to Daniel Ricciardo. And Daniel Ricciardo has jumped us, so perhaps it was just 1 lap too soon. Freddie has lost a good 2 or 3 seconds through that, so perhaps it was just 1 lap too soon. So now we have lost second place here in the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's not going to affect proceedings too much, but as it stands, because Lewis Hamilton had a 16-point lead going into the Brazilian Grand Prix, it will now be decreased to a 1-point lead for Hamilton. So into the final race, if Hamilton hasn't got back into the points again, it will be one final battle between those two. It'll be 1 point in it. So that is absolutely incredible. What a finale we have in store here for the Freddie Gray versus Lewis Hamilton battle as we enter Abu Dhabi. But have we won the Constructors' Championship for Ferrari?
We've had our ups and downs, but the Constructors' Championship has been sealed. Get in there. Just one final push for yourself now, mate. Let's make it a double in Abu Dhabi.
So after all the setbacks that Freddie has had this season with the Ferrari team, dented relationships and things like that, after all the incidents with teammate Sebastian Vettel, the Ferrari team have come out on top and have sealed the Constructors' Championship at the expense of Mercedes, once again beaten. Obviously last season Mercedes did actually win the Constructors. This year Ferrari have got one back on them, and for the first time when Freddie's been in the team, they have won the Constructors' Championship. So an absolutely phenomenal achievement, and as you can see, only Nico Rosberg in the points for Mercedes in 8th position. Valtteri Bottas also noting him there, and also Kvyat in 4th place. And looking further down, we've got Lewis Hamilton in P14. So obviously that front wing loss on the back, I think it was on the back of Max Verstappen or Daniel Ricciardo, one of the 2 Red Bull cars, really did cost him today. So he is going to be not on the back foot here, but really increasingly under pressure. It's his to lose now, essentially. It has been really ever since we entered this weekend. So it'll be interesting to see as we do now look at the Drivers' Championship. Indeed, it is 1 point between Freddie and Lewis Hamilton. So what a finale we're going to have next time out in Abu Dhabi. It will be a 100% race, guys, by the way. That is for sure. 100% race. The day-to-night transition around Abu Dhabi. One final showdown here between those two. And let's see how it will all pay off this time. Let's hope for revenge for Freddie's sake. Sebastian Vettel in third, which is basically pretty much guaranteed for him. A bit of a battle for fourth to go on in the final race. You've got Ricardo, Rosberg and Massa battling there. Verstappen more or less sealed with 7th, but we do have Bottas as well, who could perhaps overtake him into 8th. And the constructors, obviously, Ferrari have won. Their gap is more than 43 points between them and the Mercedes. So Ferrari have won the Constructors' Championship. A brilliant achievement for them. And you can see also Red Bull up into 3rd now ahead of Williams. Force India in 5th with Toro Rosso 6th. McLaren in 7th with 63 points. Obviously, we still got Manor right at the bottom with 4 points. So guys, obviously next time is the finale in Abu Dhabi, a 100% race. As mentioned before, it'll be one final battle, one final showdown between Freddie Gray and Lewis Hamilton. If you're looking forward to it, leave a like down below. Also leave a comment about who you think will win this Drivers' World Championship. Yes guys, the most important thing to take from today is that Ferrari are 2016 Constructors' Champions. But that now allows Sebastian Vettel to go round the outside, and it could even be a 1-2 for the team. Unbelievable scenes here. Dives down the inside of Sebastian Vettel. His teammate, he forces him off the track. What the fuck was that? As Freddie goes into it, puts the wheel into the grass, goes in with too much speed, spins off, and you are kidding me. The two Ferraris have made contact here.
Incredibly disappointing result. A meeting is needed before you guys chat to the media.
2 major setbacks. But the dream was still on. Has Rosberg got it? He's going to try around the outside of the bus stop chicane. Vettel is also there as well, along with Lewis Hamilton, into the bus stop chicane for one final time and round the final corner. I think Freddie's just about got in. Vettel also defends off Lewis Hamilton. We're going to win the Belgian Grand Prix. Get in there! We're going to make a diving manoeuvre up the inside of Sebastian Vettel. Yes, we do. Up into the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix.
Absolutely brilliant, mate. Second 1-2 of the season, and now we lead both championships.
So actually, as it stands, Ferrari could be seen in the Constructors' Championship stage, but have we won the Constructors' Championship for Ferrari?
We've had our ups and downs, but the Constructors' Championship has been sealed. Get in there.